Joining us now for a little bit of analysis, our political panel. Deneen Borelli is a Fox News contributor and director of outreach for Freedom Works. Richard Goodstein is a Democratic political consultant and former advisor to Hillary Clinton for president back in 2008. Good to see you both. And let me start with you, Deneen, because we just heard from Senator Cruz say that conservatives are winning, and he asked, how do we keep winning? But I bet you there are a lot of people out there who are wondering, what's he talking about? I mean, yes, Republicans held on to the House, but they lost seats. They also lost seats in the Senate, and they lost the White House for the second time in a row. What is the message for conservatives to get back on a winning track?
Well, I think the message is to stay on message. I mean, I think it's very exciting and refreshing that conservatives really are taking over the Republican Party, because the problem what has been for many, many years is that we've had the moderate establishment Republican politicians, the squishy politicians. They're not sticking to their core values, their core principles of smaller government, less spending, lower debt, lower taxes. This is what we need really to propel our economy and also to get jobs growing in our country.
Richard, as a Democrat, you sit back and you watch, you listen to the speakers at CPAC, and you listen to what's going on in Washington, where you are. What are your feelings as you take a look at your friends on the other side of the aisle and where they stand?
Yeah, I would say keep winning. Again, Democrats got more votes across all races for House of Representatives and Senate and White House in 2012. What we just heard, Ted Cruz, is a great personal story, say that we need to do is observe the Constitution and have growth and opportunity. How many thousands of times did we hear Mitt Romney, who won the CPAC poll, incidentally, the last 2 times, and who ran as a severe conservative, how many times did we hear him say that during the 2012 campaign? So, and remember, in the immediate aftermath, there was supposed to be this introspection, and maybe the Republicans needed to go in a new direction. And what we heard from Ted Cruz riled the crowd was just red meat. And, you know, he's a Supreme Court clerk, a really impressive guy, but that doesn't seem like a new direction at all for the Republican Party.
And that seems to be what a lot of the speakers were saying, Deneen, with a few exceptions, including former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, who got up and had some, some medicine that he tried to give to his fellow Republicans. But for the most part, most of the speakers we heard at CPAC were saying it's not the message, it's the way we deliver it. You agree with that? Well,
it's not only the delivery, but it's also sticking to the message. Stop spending, lower our debt, lower taxes. Listen, this is what helps our economy. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, we've had way too many moderate establishment Republican candidates who are just not sticking to the core principles of conservatism. Richard mentioned Romney. Yeah, well, Romney's a moderate establishment politician. He was a person of good character, but he wasn't the one who could really get our party
Deneen
into the
White
House.
Stand by, both of you, if you would. We've got to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk to you both more about CPAC. Don't go away. We'll be right back. News alert, and we have just in the last half hour or so learned the winner of the CPAC straw poll. Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky who made headlines the last couple of weeks for his filibuster on the floor of the U.S. Senate. The winner of the straw poll, Marco Rubio, the senator from Florida, coming in a close second. We're talking with Deneen Borelli, Fox News contributor, director of outreach for Freedom Works, Richard Goodstein, Democratic political consultant. All right, let me ask you, Richard, as we look at the winner of the straw poll, and I'll put it out there that they don't have a great track record at CPAC for picking future presidents, but what does it tell you that Rand Paul was the winner this year in light of sort of some of the headlines that he's been making?
Well, it does say that timing is everything, because my guess is had Ted Cruz given his speech before the straw poll, he'd have gotten a lot more than 4%. And had Rand Paul not had his filibuster on drones until after the CPAC straw poll, he probably wouldn't have won. But look, obviously, give the CPAC voters credit. They went after new faces between Paul and Rubio. These are certainly people who have not been on the national scene for very long. I do think, though, if you kind of step back and you say, who were those swing voters that Romney should have had but didn't get? I don't know that the Rand Paul profile fits that bill. And to a point that we kind of referenced earlier, the only time that Mitt Romney tightened this race, if you remember in 2012, was after that first debate when he sounded a much more moderate tone. not severely conservative, that's when it became kind of a 1 or 2 point race. And when people kind of went back to their corners, that's when it opened up again. So the notion that somehow libertarianism is going to be what the Republican Party embraces, I would say the jury is very much out on whether that's kind of a winning national message.
Deneen, what do you think about that?
Well, I think Paul and Senator Rand Paul and Rubio, for example, listen, these are principled conservatives. They're Tea Party candidates. They want limited government, less spending, lower taxes. We need leadership who's going to help grow our economy. How about unleashing our energy in our country and allow us to dig and mine for fossil fuels that will lower our energy prices and get people working and create tax revenue for our country? How about looking at policies that are going to help our economy and getting more people off the government dole and getting people employed? This is the kind of leadership we need people to look at and expand on for our country.
We're going to have to leave it there, but a great discussion, and we appreciate both of you rolling with the punches here as we
Rick.
waited for the speeches to wrap up. Richard Goodstein, Deneen Borelli,
Thank you.
nice to see you both.
You too.